Hey, Jim Miller here, Director of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame, Dan Gable Museum. Mike Doughty, our Development Director. And we're here every day pretty much at the Dan Gable Museum, National Wrestling Hall of Fame. And we've been here, it's been this way since about 2010, when the National Wrestling Hall of Fame of Stillwater, Oklahoma bought the Waterloo division. So we've got two National Wrestling Hall of Fame. We also at the George Tragos Luthez Pro Hall of Fame inside this building. Go ahead, Mike.
So the Tragos and Thez Pro Hall of Fame started in Newton, Iowa, by a gentleman by the name of Mike Chapman, and Mike started that in the early 1990s. And the salient aspect of the Tragos and Thez Hall of Fame is that the wrestlers that go into the Hall of Fame had to have been an amateur wrestler at some point. I mean, they're in the Hall of Fame because they were professional wrestlers, but they started out in amateur wrestling, whether it be in high school and college, and international wrestling. So we have people like Baron von Raschke, who was an AAU national champion for Nebraska back in the 50s. We have Kurt Angle, who was a two-time national champion for Clarion. Chris Taylor, a two-time national champion for Iowa State. All on the amateur side, Olympic bronze medalist on the amateur side. Angle was a gold medalist in 1996, and then they went into pro wrestling.
So. Awesome. I know that was a big deal with women wrestling now. It's getting bigger now.
Yeah. Women's wrestling's exploded, you know, and across the country. The fastest growing sport in our country is female wrestling. Mm-hmm. And we are really good. The USA, we are very good at the highest level. Us in Japan, we battled Japan for the title. But high school girls wrestling has exploded. In Iowa, for example, it's just been sanctioned a few years ago, and we're selling out our state tournaments and so forth. And it's just great to see.
Especially when it is promoted more on news now.
For sure.
And ESPN, Fox Sports is getting bigger, and it's a good thing, you know.
Yeah, it is.
It's not like it's only meant for men wrestling. No, it's for both, you know. And it had that, you understand, like it's not just for men, you know. It's for everybody, you know.
Yeah, and we're very proud of the fact that the very first women's wrestling coach at the USA wrestling level was an Iowa native, and he's one of our inductees in the program from Charles City, Mike Drow. And Mike was really a pioneer in the women's international freestyle wrestling. And now, for the last 22 years, the head women's coach for USA Wrestling is a former Iowa national champion and Dan Gable wrestler by the name of Terry Steiner. So Iowa has had a lot of positive impact on the female wrestling and the women's wrestling. And it's as Jim said. Just a few years ago, there were 4,000 high school girls around the country wrestling, and now I think it's pushing 40,000 competitors. So it just exploded.
Is there? I'm not really know about. Is there a special Olympics for wrestling for special needs now? Or
for Paralympics?
Yes, like that, or it might be common.
I don't know, because one thing that's really unique, I think, about wrestling is you look at a guy like Anthony Robles, who is an amputee, and he wrestled in collegiate wrestling with everybody else.
Right.
And there's a gentleman out of Iowa by the name of Nick Ackerman that was a double amputee, and he was a Division III national champion around 2001, and so we've had wrestlers that have been visually impaired, hearing impaired. They've had different anomalies. Yes. One of our Hall of Fame members, Tim Johnson, had a severe leg injury as a young man, and he went all the way up through college wrestling. but
That's great.
But it was it was just in the in high school and college, just with everybody else.
Yeah, bottom line, wrestling's for everybody.
Yes, yes, it
Yeah,
is.
wrestling's for everybody. Men, women, small, big. I mean, it doesn't matter what size you are.
Right.
I mean, so that's what's really great about the sport.
Yeah, and Jim wrote a book a few years ago called "Do It Anyway," and that's part of it too. I mean, Anthony Robles was an amputee, had one leg, but he did it anyway. He wrestled anyway, and was a 2011 national champion.
Right. Do you have that book?
Yes.
Is there a way I could take a picture of that? I could pin
Sure.
it on here?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
it's a great book. In fact, when Jim showed it to me, I go, "Mill boy, that's how I live my life." No matter what comes up, I say, "Do it anyway." I've always done it anyway, and it's an unbelievable book.
But there's all this wrestling event. Who was your, not really idol, like somebody you never met and you met, like a pro wrestler? Like, I never thought I was gonna see Eric Bischoff. Never. Guess what? I just saw him. And I talked to him. He was a great person,
Yeah.
Well, mine's a little different. As a kid growing up, a guy named Dan Gable was my hero.
Okay. Of course.
So having gone on to wrestle in as the same wrestling room as him, he was a coach and I was a wrestler, and then knowing him, getting to know him better and better, and now working with him at a museum named after him. I mean, that it doesn't get much better than that.
It's a cool thing. At least I don't like to say idol. Some guy you look up to and you work for him now.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, unlike some of your idols, as the more I get to know Coach Gable, the more I idolize him. Because of everything but wrestling, because of him as a human being, not because of his wrestling. Initially, it was his wrestling that attracted me to.
Plus, he was wrestling for a lot of places around here.
Yeah.
I talked to a lot of people are his age, went to the same school as him, or they served different school and they wrestled him. And I talked to a guy, I can't say his name. And I said, I'm going to the Dan Gable Museum and tell him I see him and talk to him and whatnot. And he's like, I know that dude. I wrestle him and he whooped my butt.
Yeah.
He draws a crowd everywhere we go still.
Yes.
To this day. Yeah.
Yeah, I see you got that book.
Yep. Do it anyway. Do it anyways pretty much means
That means zoom in.
even when it's hard, if it's important to your success, you do it anyway. Whether it's health, whether it's athletics, academics,
Right.
whatever. But there's a lot of good stories in there. You can get it on Audible, or you can Coach Jim Miller Speaking is the website you can order from. So
Or just come here.
or just come here.
just come here.
Just come
Here,
here.
yeah.
That's awesome. About you, any famous persons that you always want to meet and you finally met for wrestling?
Oh, year after year.
The fact that you met a lot of people, so and that's awesome.
I mean, it's just like anything.
Right.
You just got to be ready for it. Every time we have this event or one of our other events, there's always people that you haven't met that, wow, I didn't know if we'd run into each other at some point.
It's nice. At least it's in Waterloo.
For sure.
Waterloo isn't it it's not big, but it is. Especially you have other towns that's attached to it. Like Sierra Falls,
Sure.
Evansdale.
Sure.
Raymond, those people can come over here and experience this facility, this whole thing too,
No, we're proud of the facility. We really like it. I mean, I think it, no matter what, I mean, you walk in and you just see champions everywhere.
Right.
It just kind of lifts you up. I mean, it doesn't really matter that it's wrestling, but it transfers to almost everything you do. These people, you do hard things to be great. You got to do hard things. You got to learn to pick yourself up after getting knocked down.
Right.
I mean, just the basic things that you learn, especially in this sport, you literally got to pick yourself up after getting knocked down. But it's life lessons, and just kind of stays with you.
Like a lot
lifetime.
of these people on the wall, I have no clue who they are. A lot of those came out of high school, and then now they went to university and wrestled for them. And at least it's on the board, at least it's on the wall. You can figure out who these people are.
Yeah,
and if
exactly.
you want to know more, of course, Google it. Google it. Go to YouTube or other social medias and find out.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate what you're doing, man.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much
All good.
for the little interview and whatnot.
Yeah.
I just wanted to start doing this more often and
Good for
have
you.
enough confidence to talk to people. You
No,
know?
good for you, man.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And you know, you walk up and down these different displays, and there is a life lesson in every one of them.
Mhm.
Every one of these people have had to overcome adversity. Many have had to overcome tragedy.
Right.
And you know, like Jim's book said, you know, no matter what went in front of them, what was put in front of them, they got back up and they did it anyway.
I think everybody had trials
Yeah.
they are going into
Yeah.
or they are going out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with anything like wrestling, could be changing your life,
Mhm.
and it's for the positive, and I hope it's for the positive, you
Yeah.
know. If you lose, tough, move on,
Yeah.
and you will win the next one,
Exactly.
But thank you very much, guys.
All right, thank you.
Have a
Appreciate
good
it.
one.
Yep.
Appreciate it, man.